and then we have to. All right, we're live. So now I will tweet out the link, given that nobody is watching and nobody knows the link. And okay, we're okay to go now because only problem is I can hear my own voice on somebody else's screen. Might be yours, Theo, because I think.
Oh wait, I get some headphones, some earphones actually.
Yeah, it does repeat on itself quite a bit. I've noticed. It's one of those things with laptops. But yes, we are previewing the Africa Cup of Nations final between Cameroon and Egypt, the two least convincing finalists we were just chatting about in some time. Now, I mean, I'm not a long-term African football viewer in the same way you two are, and Saleem is joining us in a bit. Say he probably watched it even longer than all of us, but it does feel like these two sides have been, let's just say, riding their luck so far, and it's owed more to defensive brilliance rather than attacking prowess. Yes. I mean, Theo, I'll start with you. We'll start with Egypt, given that they were the first ones into the final. What have you made of their performances so far?
So in the first game, I think they played. Was it Mali? I think that was
they drew 0-0 with Mali. Yeah,
3-0. And the second game was against
Uganda.
Is that Uganda? And I think they just scraped.
Yeah, last minute winner.
Yeah, last minute winner. And then against Ghana, obviously, where Ghana played a change side, and they obviously took advantage of one free kick and then managed to scrape through that. And then, to be honest, with their performances, I do feel that if they try to go toe-to-toe with other teams, I don't think it's because the other teams are that good, but I think they'd get destroyed a little bit. Like, they wouldn't be able to keep up the tempo.
And well, I remember them playing Ghana in a qualifier for either the World Cup or AFCON a few years ago, and they got absolutely torn apart. Yeah. I think it must have been under the wonderful Bob Bradley.
Yeah, the PE coach.
Yeah, and they were absolutely dire. They couldn't hold anything back, and yet now we've got a side that can barely concede a goal. Only Aristide Bonse, the wonderful man, can beat them in this tournament so far. And you have to wonder whether a side like Cameroon, who have barely scored all tournament as it is, will actually be able to break them down. It depends on who's going to sit back the most.
Yeah, whose defense is better? Somebody's gonna have to keep the ball. They can't just give it away, can they?
Yeah, exactly. They can't just stand there and watch the ball. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they tried, but yeah, it'll end up like that philosophy football Monty Python sketch. They're all just kind of sat there thinking about it rather than actually playing football.
Yeah, I actually think Egypt will let Cameroon get more of the ball because I don't think Cameroon's defense is as organized as the Egyptian defense, as what I've seen. And so they're more set towards the counter-attack, whereas even Egypt when attacking, it's more bodies arriving late into the box. They're not like letting the fullback get up and overlap loads and two fullbacks both from each side. It's still more restricted even on the counter. So I think I just see Egypt winning that. I'll be shocked if Cameroon win, even though I've been shocked they've gotten this far in the first place.
Well, yeah, there are definite comparisons with that Nigeria 2013 team, as you were saying earlier, about how it was a kind of complete reinvention. All the star players got dropped and the younger guys were brought in to perform, and they did. But at the same time, I think that this Egypt side's a bit better than that Burkina Faso team. Yeah. And
I'm not sure, Do you think individual-wise or just as a team?
I think Egypt looked more solid than that Burkina Faso team.
Yeah.
Marginally.
Yeah.
And they also have the star quality of Salah, which is better than any player that Burkina Faso had in that tournament. As good as Fitripa was,
I just think that Burkina Faso had a higher attacking average, if that makes sense. So they had, was it Petroipa? I think Nkomo was.
Well, Alan Traore was out injured for the final most of the tournament. They started with Nkomo, Petroipa, and Bonse as their front three.
Kabore in midfield.
Yeah, Kabore, Ruamba, and Kone. That Jacarija Kone.
Yeah.
Which is most of that team is still there, other than Jacarija and Ruamba. They didn't make it this time. But the rest of that, the sort of front four that they had there was all in the squad this time. I know Petroipa was out injured, but I think that maybe they had more options in the squad then, because I know Bertrand Traore was younger, but they had Sanu, they had Degano, Razak Traore, Alan Traore was out injured, so it was a deeper squad for Burkina Faso this time than this time. But yeah, it's a really tough one to call. Lutfi, what are your thoughts on Egypt? No, you're our North African expert.
Personally, I think Egypt. I think the performance against Burkina Faso was probably their worst performance, if we consider both halves. Was the worst performance they offered in the tourney. They were pretty much they got problems, especially in the wings. Also, we saw that, for instance, against Ghana and against Uganda, they managed, and even against Morocco at a certain way, they managed to keep them at bay. The defense was pretty solid. Also, I think it has been Egypt's biggest positive of the tourney so far. The defense and even the defensive base. I think not even the only centre backs, even for instance the midfielders. Offensively speaking, I think they were pretty. They don't need sorry many chances, but they have one chances and they put it in the net. They're pretty efficient. They have also yes, I think it was pretty. And we must not forget also that they are missing many players. They are not playing with their first choice keeper. They are not playing with their first choice left back. They are not playing with El Neni also. Their forward isn't playing also.
Both their forwards, yeah, because Kuka's out as well.
Yes, Kuka is out, but we should know logically today or tomorrow logically if they will be boosted by El Neni and the fullback Adel Shafi also. And yes, I think, and they will miss also in the final. They will miss Mahmoud Kahraba, who had an assist and a goal under his belt. So
He's suspended,
knockout
isn't he,
stages.
Kahraba?
Yes,
He
he's
picked up a yellow,
suspended. Yes, very stupid yellow card actually. And for Cameroon, I think, as I said on Twitter, and as I said after, and as I am saying, I think since they qualified, I think the credit must be all given, in my opinion, to Hugo Bruce, and not even to the players actually, because he's smart enough and intelligent enough. He saw that this Cameroon is tactically mediocre, and as said, I want in my mind, they are tactically one of the most disgusting side, technically speaking, of the tourney with Mali, and he saw that he couldn't, for instance, make them playing great football or even good football. So he decided to play on Cameroon positives, which are a strong physical presence and compactness, and now it's working, and I admire it. It's probably a sign of smartness or intelligence, and I think that's solely the only thing at my we should think. I will remember about this Cameroon side, because of the rest is pretty mediocre, and except their keeper Fabrice Ondoa, who's a very excellent keeper, and I doubt, and it would be sad to see him playing again in Sevilla reserve, or if he's playing there or academy. he
Yeah,
deserves
because
a
he's
better
on the
club.
he's on the bench for the reserves or something stupid like that, isn't it? I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yes,
He's
that's
played really
incredible.
well.
Yes,
As
and
has
he's really good.
El Hadari has been excellent as well, by and
Yeah,
large. Especially, I think
I
like
don't
that's the
actually
thing.
think Hadari's been good. I think he's been well protected, so he doesn't have to face any good quality shots. Get
Well,
anything near him, and he just having these ridiculous dives and just making
yeah,
things look really difficult when they're
I
quite
think
simplistic.
I think he's wobbled a couple of crosses, but by and large, if you consider the fact that he wasn't first choice keeper, he's had to kind of bring himself in, and I think you're saying he's well protected. It must be a real help having such a good leader and organizer behind you. It gives your defense confidence in the same way that having a rubbish keeper there would make your defenders really nervous. So I think good goalkeeping isn't necessarily all about the shot stopping and
Mm.
the catching the crosses, punching the crosses. It's
yeah,
about being a leader as well and an organizer. And the memory I have is El Hadri stood there with the players before the shootout,
yes,
saying, rallying them. I don't know what he was saying, but
yes, he's
he was shouting
incredible.
them,
Yes,
and motivating them, and it just kind of that's why I wrote the article on it. And it must be such a help to have such a wonderful leader, an experienced player in the dressing room, because I think there's only a couple of them who are in the squad. Abdel Shafi is another
yeah,
one.
El Mohamed
Fatih, I
also.
think. Yeah, El Mohammadi. The four guys left over from that last winning team. One of them wasn't on the pitch, so it must be such a boost. And it may be one of those kind of wonderful accidents, in the same way that Boubacar Barry kind of accidentally got the spot in the final last
Yeah,
time 2 years ago, and ended up being the hero. I
Con-
think El Hadri is probably going to be the same person
yeah.
for Egypt this time.
Considering El Hadri, I think also I made this supposition on Twitter. I think also personally I won't be surprised, for instance, to see that that was a supposition I made, but I wonder if his presence only between the sticks, had a psychological impact on both players before during the penalty shootout, because he has done so many he has made so many things in penalty shootouts during his career. So I wonder if it had, for instance, an impact on Egypt penalty takers, and even, for instance, against. I think the best what sum up, I think, the El Hadari, I think during the tourney was I think you remember, it was during the Hervé Kofi penalty, which he, for instance, he showed Hervé Kofi the way, the side where he was going to dive, and Hervé Kofi shot there, and I think it's sum up at my eyes pretty everything. He has something in him. He has such a charisma, and he has certainly in him also a fear factor, I would say, and he's very and players can feel very safe with his presence. Egypt player can feel very safe with his presence. Sorry, and I think that was one of the supposition I made after reviewing again the penalties, because you saw, for instance, the penalties of the sight of some Burkinabe players who weren't very sure, etc. And even himself, he said, for instance, after the game, that he was certainly, and he was 100% sure that he was going to stop the two last penalties of Burkina Faso, even if Egypt were behind. That's quite
Yeah, he
remarkable, I
did say
think.
that, didn't he?
Yes,
Salim has sorry,
go on,
I was
go
going
on.
to say
Yes.
Salim has joined us. I was wondering if you got any thoughts. We were talking about Egypt, particularly strengths and weaknesses. Um, Obviously, the defense has been really good, but midfield not so good, particularly in that last game. He didn't seem to have much control over the game. Salim, we can't hear you at all. I'll just check that we haven't accidentally muted you. No, I've just muted you there. I should be fine. We can't hear you though.
Let me check. It's just gonna be there. Hold on.
I think I've.
Or has he muted himself? Hold on.
No, I think I muted him to see if it would work, but he seems to have unmuted himself. But I can't hear him at all.
Can you hear us? Okay.
Get YouTube in, guys. we type in messages. It's fine.
Wait. Maybe try taking out the earphones and see. That might cause a bit of feedback, but just see.
I said no. It's strange. I think I can't hear anything at all. Nothing at all. Strange. To answer your question, I don't. Well, we could restart it, but I think it would save as a separate video. That's the only problem. We'd lose our 2 viewers. Let's try. Try the set. Look in the settings and see what's what your voice is down as. Oh, he's gone. Okay. We're just waiting for Slim to come back in. Apologies for the delay. Try now. I can just about hear you. Oh no, and I can hear myself, that is. Slim, try and speak. No, it's not working, is it?
Wait, can he try it on his phone? If you got, you can on the phone, can't you?
I was thinking, is there anything in the settings, like if you, is it that your microphone just isn't selected or something?
Yeah, check. Put your mouse up towards the top of the screen, because you might be able to. You might have muted yourself.
No, it's not muted. Like it would come up if it has. It would be a symbol up there. It wasn't working before I touched that. Yeah, because Theo, you just muted yourself there,
Just unmuted myself.
and the symbol comes up. Like, Slim, if you go into this in. Oh, that's strange. It's not showing.
If the mute sign is red, that means it's off, doesn't it?
Yeah, if it's on red, you're muted. There we are. I'm back now. You see, that's what it's like from my end. But the thing, yeah, Salim, you just went mute and then back to normal again, and again there. So it's not the. Yeah, it should be crossed. That's how it should be. It's fine. That's just the default symbol. So it's a mic. There's a mic problem, I think, for you. If you go into settings and try, it should say it gives you a few options in your microphone. Maybe if you try something in there. I'll try that. At least you can hear us. I mean, that's not. It means it's not a two-way problem. It's just.
Should we take it off live for a second?
Yeah, we can do. I'll see. I will. Well, it's not the end of the world.